So we will continue the reading of chapter 15. I think exactly a week ago we did chapter 15, a few verses. Continuing with text 8. Shariram yad avapnoti yad chapi utkramati swaraha Grihitvaitani samyati vayur gandan ivasayat. The living entity in the material world carries its different conceptions of life from one body to another, as air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Here the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his own body. If he likes, he can change his body to a higher grade, and if he likes, he can move it to lower class. Minute independence is there. The change his body undergoes depends upon him. At the time of death, the consciousness he has created will carry him on to the next type of body. If he has made his consciousness like that of a cat or dog, he is sure to change to cat or dog's body. And if he has fixed his consciousness on godly qualities, he will change into the form of a demigod. And if he is in Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Krishna Loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. It's a false claim that after annihilation of this body, everything is finished. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and present activities are the background of his next body. One gets a different body according to karma, and he has to quit this body in due course. It is stated here, the subtle body which carries the conception of the next body develops another body in the next life. This process of transmigrating from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karshati, or struggle for existence. Here is a very important point Prabhupada is saying. It is stated the subtle body which carries the conception of the next body develops another body in the next life. Mere conception will give us a new body. So dangerous, huh? Text 9. Shrotram chakshushu sparshanam cha. Shrostram chakshushu sparshanam cha. 15.9. You want to pull it up? Rasanam grihanam evacha. Adhisthaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose and sense of touch, which are grouped above the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. So basically all these senses are grouping about the mind. So mind is the pivot, central point. And Srila Prabhupada says, in other words, if the living entity adulterates his consciousness with the quality of cats and dogs, in his next life he will get a cat or dog body and enjoys. Consciousness is originally pure, like water, but if you mix water with certain color, it changes. Similarly, consciousness is pure, for the spirit soul is pure. But the consciousness is changed according to association of the material qualities. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life he will get a corresponding body. He does not necessarily get a human body again. He can get a body of a cat, dog, hog, demigod, or one of the many other forms, for there are 8.4 million species. So here the example Prabhupada gives is, if you mix water with a certain color, it changes color, right? Similarly, consciousness, although it is pure originally, is changed according to association of material qualities. So if we associate with a material quality, which we are doing day in and day out, we will get a material consciousness. And material consciousness will give us a next body. So the term Prabhupada uses is adulterates. Just like milk is adulterated by adding water. It's not the same, but now the milk is adulterated. Similarly, consciousness, when we associate with matter, it becomes material. Utkramantam sthitam vapi Bunjanam va gunanvitam Vimudananu Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body enjoys under the spell of modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. In this chapter, Krishna is talking so much about body. Huh? The word Jnana Chakshusha is very significant. You want to read this, Prabhu?
The word Jnana Chakshusha is very significant. Without knowledge, one cannot understand how a living entity leaves his present body, nor what form of body he is going to take in the next life, nor even why he is living in a particular type of body. This requires a great amount of knowledge understood from Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures heard from a bona fide spiritual master. One who is trained to perceive all these things is fortunate. Every living entity is quitting his body under certain circumstances. He is living under certain circumstances and he is enjoying under certain circumstances under the spell of material nature. As a result, he is suffering different kinds of happiness and distress under the illusion of sense enjoyment. Persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire lose all power to understand their change of body and their stay in a particular body. They cannot comprehend it. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, can see that the spirit is different from the body and is changing its body and enjoying in different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for their conditioned life is very much troublesome. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world.
Nice. So can you summarize it? Or key points?
The key points is that living entity is having a next life based on the consciousness.
In this
so
life.
If one is trying to perceive things are fortunate, those things, living entities living in a particular according to the circumstances, he is giving a body.
According to the circumstances, he is getting a new body.
Yeah,
Again, continuously, last 3-4 verses, Krishna is talking about the dangers of getting a material body. Okay, let's do text 11. Yatanto yoginaschainam Pashyanti atmani avasthitam Yatanto api akritatmano Nainam pashyanti achetasaha. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. Right? They are also trying to understand the mystery of the world, mystery of life, but they may not understand it. So one has to come to the transcendental state. That's the implied meaning. So can you please read the purport?
There are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritual self-realization, but one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of the living entity. The word yogina is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are many so-called yogis and there are so-called associations of yogis. but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called Yadanto Abhi Agrat Manu. Even though they are enduring in a so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world, and the Supreme Lord, in other words, the Bhakti Yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness can understand how things are taking place. He's talking about the fake yoga.
The fake yoga.
Will not help.
Right, will not help anybody. They are blind, Prabhupada says, in the matter of self-realization. They're doing something, but it's not the real thing. Okay, let's do text 12. Yadaditya gatam tejo
Yadaditya gatam tejo
Jagad bhashyate akhilam
Jagat bhasyate akhilam
Yak chandramsi yak chagnaho
Yak chandramsi yak chakno
Tattejo viddhi mamakam.
Tattejo viddhi mamakam.
The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. Now he is giving characteristics of himself. And the splendor of the moon and splendor of fire are also from me. Elsewhere he talks about the moon, right? Where does he talk about that? That is one place. But even earlier in this chapter he talks about how vegetables are growing from the moonlight. You remember that?
Yeah.
So he talks about moon. Oh, no. He's actually talking after this. Text 13 onwards. He's talking not before, but